It's been exactly 10 years since I aged out of a broken system that left me bitter, angry, confused, and lost in a world filled with traumatic experiences and memories that I couldn't escape. Like most youth that have experience with foster care, social services, or adoption, all we ever long for is someone we can look up to, someone who will love us unconditionally and show us that we are worthy of being loved, regardless of what we've been through or what emotional trauma we are experiencing. All we ever yearn for is a place to call home, whether that be the neglectful environment that we were ripped out of, or that perfect home that we've never experienced but always dreamt of. All I ever longed for was someone to care, someone who could see past all of the angry outbursts or meltdowns that made no sense. Growing up, I wanted someone to save me from the life I endured, to sweep me away, saving me from everything that ailed my broken heart. I spent the majority of my youth riddled with jealousy and an unrelenting anger that never seemed to subside. I wanted things that were essentially built in for other children. Things like stable, loving parents, food that kept my belly warm, clothes, shoes, jackets, and toys. I wanted a safe bed to sleep in, and someone who listened to me. I remember picking as many wish flowers as I could, thinking that if magic did exist, and I made a wish hard enough, it would come true. Instead, I bounced from one toxic situation to the next, before being shoved out onto the streets at 18. I never had that solid foundation to build from, or a family to teach me the things that so many others took for granted. That natural bond that most children experience with their parents was stolen from me, taken away by the very people who were supposed to love me the most. My mother's bad decisions, drugs, and alcohol had replaced the very essence of the child that stood before her. I was irrelevant. She had been too wrapped up in her own little world to have even the slightest idea that I needed her. My father, when he finally came looking for me, he left me feeling just as broken and used. Most foster kids, by the time they've reached a certain age, will have built an emotional brick wall that disconnects them from the rest of the world. For a long time, I didn't realize it's what kept me from developing healthy, positive relationships. It's something that took years to establish, and it wasn't something I was able to fix overnight. I thought that leaving the system behind and never looking back was the best decision I could make. Erasing my past like it had never happened or mattered, because at 18, I was an adult and I could make my own decisions. But truthfully, at 18, I was still a young, fragile, inexperienced, and sometimes reckless kid. I had problems, and a lot of them, but it wasn't something that a therapist was going to fix either, because honestly, I didn't want to accept help or admit defeat. This is the story of how I almost gave up, but eventually found purpose in the lingering pain from my past. Chapter 1. Into the Dawn. I didn't pack for a trip into the city, but I knew that I needed a change of pace. Things had been out of control lately, and I needed to clear my head. So I got in the car and just drove. At first, I had no idea where I was going or even how long I would be gone. But I had to get away from everything that was familiar, everything that reminded me of Jordan. Without any real direction, minutes turned into hours as I navigated my way down the road, crying and slamming my fists onto the dashboard, while hundreds of fragmented memories raced through my mind.